Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute. We have yet another project to tackle today on the S13. I got some stuff just off Amazon. We're gonna be cleaning up the engine bay a little bit, and I'm gonna get into that a little bit deeper and show you guys exactly what I mean when I say that and what we're gonna actually be getting into today. I got a couple boxes on the workbench over here, so let's see what we got. So when I say that we're gonna be cleaning up the bay today, what I'm actually referencing is these fuel lines right here. And the way that we're gonna clean the bay is all in these boxes here. I got some of this stuff, Amazon. This is from Z1, shout out Z1 for the OEM parts. And this is also from Z1 actually. So we got a couple things here. Let me go ahead and open them up and I'll show you guys exactly what we're working with. All right, so the first box is gonna be this yall energy box. I did a lot of research, and what they actually produce is fuel line. So what this is right here, I believe it's 5/8 if I'm not mistaken. Or no, 5/16, my bad. So what this is 5/16, as you can see right there. This is braided fuel line, so it's gonna be nice and durable. I've read a lot of reviews about them and everybody said that they make a really nice product. So we're gonna be putting new fuel lines on the car. Also, shout out yall Energy because they sent a sticker. If you're a company that makes car parts and you don't send free stickers, what are you doing? So that's box number one. Box number two, again, this is from Z1. This is obviously a OEM genuine Nissan fuel filter, but this is actually for a Z32. So the Z32 fuel filter, it's actually fairly common to do on S chassis. What this is, it's basically a direct replacement. It's almost exactly the same design as what's on the S chassis. It's just a little bit bigger, so it filters a little bit better, a little bit more efficient. It's not necessary by any means, but they're relatively still cheap on Z1. So again, shout out Z1. We're gonna get a new fuel filter in there, and this thing's gonna be dialed in, running smooth. And then the other two little packages we got, this is a upper radiator mount, and then just the OEM bolt that holds it on there. So what this actually is if you're looking at my radiator, you might notice I have a mount on this side, but the one over here is missing. So we got the bracket to go on there, this piece, and then we also got the OEM bolt to go right in there. But first, before we do this, because this is obviously super easy, we're gonna clean up this whole mess in here. And what I mean by that exactly is I don't like the OEM factory design of the fuel rail on the KA24, specifically the DE. I think the KA24E is a little different, but what I mean is obviously this fuel line right here can be a little bit shorter. That one right there, the return line, can obviously be shorter, but if you follow it, you can actually eliminate this bracket here. The reason you can actually get rid of it is it's a little hard to film, but if you can see, the return line comes out of the fuel rail, goes all the way along the top, and then back through here and down. So you can just go straight from there down to there, so you don't need this whole loop. And then this line, I'm gonna try and route it like through the intake manifold, so that way this bracket isn't there, and the lines you won't really be able to see except for where it attaches right there at the bottom. So we're gonna clean all of that up with our fancy new fuel line over here. So I'm thinking the plan of attack is we're going to undo that little bolt right there, so that way that bracket is loose, undo that bolt right there, and then we're gonna just start undoing the fuel lines, and we're gonna see if we can't get gas all over the engine bay. I did depressurize the fuel system, took the cap off and let it vent and everything, so I think we're gonna be okay, but you know, worst case scenario, it will evaporate, so let's see if we can't get gas all over ourselves. There we go. Had to take it completely apart, but we got it. So now, this middle metal bracket should be able to start coming out. All right guys, so a couple of the lines are loose, so we're about to pull them off. But let me show you where we're at real quick, just so that way you guys can follow along easy if you guys wanna do this project yourself, because that's what I'm here for. All right, so jumping into the bay, we have loosened the fuel return hose right here. We've loosened the fuel feed from the filter. Obviously the whole bracket is loose, and then these two lines are both loose. I didn't loosen that clamp down in there, because I don't know how the last dude put that on there, but you can't reach out. But as long as we can pull it off right there, where am I? As long as we can pull it off right there, we're good. So I'm gonna yank these lines off, see if we spill gas all over, and then we will be on the road to success, boys. We got the middle bracket is gone, so all we are now left with is those two nubs on the fuel rail, this one being the feed, this one being the return, which the return we're gonna get rid of. So what we actually have to do next is take that bolt off down there because it is actually attached. There's a bracket right there. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it is attached to a bracket. And then it runs behind injectors 3 and 4, loops around. This bolt's already missing, so we don't have to worry about that one. And then we just got to take this line off, and this return from the fuel pressure regulator, instead of looping around this big loop right here, we're just gonna go straight from the fuel pressure regulator back there. I got a couple of clamps to hold it. I'm gonna utilize that hole, and it's just gonna come down and go straight to the return. So what I'm probably gonna do to get the return off is I'm just going to undo that little guy, pull it off the fuel pressure regulator, and then once I get that other bolt right down there, that whole loop in the back should come off. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. Do a little bit of YouTube magic for you guys. I haven't done that in a minute, so let's go ahead and blast the line off right there. All right guys, so as you can see, the return line, I took the return line off, so that is gone. The middle bracket that was sitting right here is gone, so all that's left is the feed line. So nice and clean. I did go ahead, I just took off the filter and everything down in there. So you can see there is the feed and the return line for the fuel filter. All right, so first of all, obviously fuel filter right here. We don't really need to worry about this. We got rid of this feed hose. So we got rid of that. This whole thing that went behind the fuel rail, so that's where it attached to the fuel pressure regulator, went all the way around, so we got rid of this. And then this big honking ugly bracket that was on top, we got rid of this as well. Obviously I'm gonna, oh, okay, there's some gas in that. It'll evaporate. Obviously, gonna keep the brackets and stuff. The fuel filter though, I wanted to show you guys the bracket in comparison to the new filter, so you can see how much bigger the Z32 fuel filter is than a S13 fuel filter. Okay, it's not hard to tell how much larger the Z32 filter is than the S13 fuel filter. Almost the exact same design, same size height-wise, just obviously fatter, so we're gonna be putting that in. I've been told that you can just open this bracket up and bend it a little bit to where this will fit, so no issues there. So like I mentioned, I should be able to take the original fuel filter holder, kind of just spread it open from what I've been told. She's a big girl, so we gotta finesse her a little bit. So the factory S13 holder does hold a Z32 fuel filter, and it's not coming loose. So that will work. All right guys, so fast forward a little bit. I think I got the configuration of how I want to run the lines in the car, so I'm going to show you guys what I actually got going on. Then I'm going to turn the ignition on, and we're going to cross our fingers that nothing leaks. So coming over, I know it doesn't look super different. However, you'll notice, one, we got the Z32 filter in there, very nice. Running up here, this is where I put my rubber clamp on it just to keep it from moving. It is still relatively loose. It's not crushing the line whatsoever. And then it runs directly up to the fuel feed. And then for the fuel return, what I did is I took it off right there, obviously. So it goes from there, and from there it snakes actually underneath the intake manifold and comes out down here and just goes down to its designated spot right there. So rather than there being a line from the back all along here that's all exposed, it's now tucked under the intake manifold. So both lines are very simplified. The other advantage that this gives me is rather than having a spot right here for multiple leaks to happen, there's now only 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 2 under the filter. So I lowered the amount of possible weak points of the fuel system. So all in all, I think it's definitely worth it, and it makes it look a lot cleaner. But I'm going to prime the ignition, and we're gonna make sure that nothing leaks. Fingers crossed. All right, I'm a little nervous, so we'll see how this goes, but I think we're gonna be okay. Okay, so the key is on. Doesn't look like we have any leaks, which is good. So I think we're okay. Well, there you guys have it. Now you know how to kind of simplify your fuel system on your S13 240SX a little bit. It makes me feel pretty good. I think it looks nicer. I'm a big fan of doing small upgrades and small changes. I think that's what makes a car really nice, like the small finishing details. It just shows that the owner cares about the vehicle. So this is one of those things that I think is gonna make it look a little bit nicer. It's also gonna make it more reliable because there's less failure points in the fueling system now. There's only, I think we eliminated 4 clamps in total, so that's pretty good, because the whole goal of this car is to have a reliable, cheap seat time car. That's the whole goal. While I'm here, before we end the video, I wanna show you guys, I did do a couple other things to the car. If you're more interested in how I did them, I do post on Instagram and TikTok. I make reels and obviously TikToks, short videos for small little changes to the car, but I wanna show you exactly what I did real quick, because it's kinda cool. So first of all, not about the car, but I did get this little propane heater, which is pretty cool. It's not very loud, which makes it really, really nice because I can have it running while filming. It just uses a regular propane tank and it straps right onto the top, and it definitely helps heat up this smaller garage space. So that is an absolute game changer for the winter. And then on the inside of the car, I did a couple of things. So first one, we're not gonna get into super heavy yet, but obviously we do have a seat for it. I still got to get a seat rail, but for the time being, we did pick up a seat. I'm going to do obviously a seat install and also a review of the seat, because I know that these are a budget option and a lot of you guys might be leaning towards these. So I'm going to do an honest review for you guys. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to give my true thoughts about the seat, but we'll get into that at a later date. So what I also did, this is now an LED, and then down under here, if you can see it, that light way up in there, I fixed the factory footwell lighting. So there is one on the passenger, and there's also one on the driver's side underneath the steering column. Another thing that I did to the car real quick, just because I think it'll be pretty cool at night, is if I bring you guys in here, turn on my map lights. I put some red lights in here. You can't really tell, but when it's dark, you guys will be able to tell. So that's gonna be pretty cool if we go night drifting with the car or anything like that, or just cruising around at night, you know. I think it's gonna be kind of a vibe to have it red and match, you know, obviously the theme that we got going for the car. And then the last thing is I haven't done anything with it yet, but I wanna shout out my homie Jacob. Jacob, I don't know if you watch the videos, but if you do, I really appreciate you, my dude. But Jacob was nice enough. He opened a pack of Japanese Pokemon cards, and he gave me this Japanese Flareon card. So I'm gonna get a different, what do they call them? I'm gonna get a different card sleeve for it so I can put a little hole in it, and I'm gonna hang it from the mirror because it kind of goes with the red theme of the car, and it's really, really cool. It's all in Japanese and everything. I have no idea what it actually says, but obviously it says Flareon and whatever, but yeah, pretty sick. So for now, I'm just leaving it right there. We will be mounting the seat in a later video like I mentioned. But that is gonna do it for this video. I know it's nothing crazy, but some of you guys like these small, simple things, and it helps you guys get to know the car a little bit better in the smaller details, and it might give you an idea of something to do to your S13 to make it a little bit more reliable and also clean up the bay a little bit. So with that being said, I'm gonna go research some seat brackets because I need to figure out which one that I wanna go with for the car. I do wanna sit dirt nasty low in here, so I gotta figure out something that will allow me to do that. But with that being said, I do appreciate you guys tapping back into the YouTube channel. I'm trying to come back pretty consistent for the new year. That's one of my personal resolutions. So as long as I have things to do to the car, you guys should be getting content pretty regularly. But with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.